anywhere. It was one of those ones where it's like you're just reading pages and pages and pages and it's like, what are you even saying? It left me feeling educated in a way I didn't want to be. So she's desperate. She's a woman on the edge. Hello friends, welcome back to another video. Hopefully my voice lasts through to the end. I've made a protein shake and I've put in some honey. This is gonna be July and August books. If you've been keeping up with any of my vlogs, you know life's been a little insane. I finished my book, got laid off, was still able to close on this house, got a new job, we had a chicken pass away. It's been a lot. I did still manage to get some reading done. It's just not quite as much as I would normally have. The DNFs this month are very much me and not the book. Ignore how messy the bookshelf is and the paint swatches, because this entire wall will be bookshelves, built-ins at some point, and then I don't think either of one of those are the color that I'm gonna go with. So just ignore everything that you see in the background, please. So the first one, unfortunately, was Geek Love. I made it like a quarter of the way through. It's about a Carney family, and the mother and father basically do their best to create the weirdest children that they possibly can. Their whole goal is to like make the ultimate freak show. I was informed by a subscriber that incest comes into play. The writing is very good, I will say. But I could not even finish the audiobook. I love a dark, weird premise like that. It's bizarre, it's kind of perverted. However, there was so much extraneous detail about all the characters, and then not just our main family, but other people too, who I didn't really feel like I cared about as much. I wanted to know more about our main characters, about the Banuskis, which is the family. It did come out in the 80s, and I don't know if that's what I wasn't vibing with, because it's just not written in a super modern style. You guys let me know if I need to finish it. And then the next one that I DNF'd was the new Hong Kong, which I feel really bad about because she's a wonderful author, but all of her stories are so freaking depressing. I had so much emotional crap going on in my own life. No. And We Do Not Part is just it's just depressing. I'll put the synopsis on the screen. The audiobook narrator literally sounds like, and maybe it's done purposefully, and I'm sure it is because it reflects the tone of the book, but the narrator's voice, she just sounds like she's given up on life. So let me know if I should finish the new Hong Kong. I feel like I should. She's like a Pulitzer Prize winning artist, or a Nobel Prize winning author. So I know her stuff is good. It just was not, it wasn't the book at the right time. And then The Dream Hotel, such a cool concept. This is one of those like not so distant future AI technology kind of books where there is some sort of algorithm that can predict who is going to commit a crime, and they lock you up before you can commit the crime. So they have like these rehabilitation centers full of innocent people. Love the premise. Writing was decent, but there's so much extraneous detail about people who I don't care about, and we kept moving away from our main character. I even forget her name. I think it was Sarah. Every scene was like kind of bashing us over the head with the fact that, you know, this new technology and this whole algorithm, the whole system is abhorrent and unjust. And obviously we are aware of that as the reader. So I just finally was like, I think I made it about 50% of the way through, and I finally turned it off. If there's some twists and turns and you guys think it's worth a read, I know it's a newer one. It's still on the bestsellers shelf right now at Barnes & Noble. So let me know if I should finish it. Now let's move into the actual read books, starting with the good category. We had Code Dependent, which is another AI book. I don't know why I'm reading so much about AI lately. It feels like I am. Code Dependent was really good, but it was also very disturbing. Basically, our author is doing a deep dive into all of the problems, maybe potential solutions that come with AI, and how quickly it has been moving and how quickly it's been implemented, and how now it's basically unescapable. Like, it is everywhere. Not necessarily trying to give us solutions. She's just one person. She doesn't have solutions to all of these issues. Some of the things that have been happening with the way that AI is trained and the way that it has exploited people, particularly people who are already being human trafficked. It's really like destroying some people's lives. And they're already marginalized people. Like there's so much. I could get into the nitty-gritty details, but I kind of don't want to because it's so disturbing. I don't want to talk about it. So it's a dark book. I don't recommend it to everyone just because, again, like you have to be in a really good mindset in order to not let those things affect you. I recommend it, but you just really need to check all the trigger warnings and make sure that you know what you're getting into. It's a very timely read, I will say. Like it feels like it's very of the moment. Sometimes you read a book and you feel like it's like really got its finger on the pulse, and this book does. I really liked that she went beyond like ChatGPT or driverless cars because those things are already here. And she talked about how it's already affecting the education system and our work, jobs, and human rights. So it was a challenging read. It was disturbing. It left me feeling educated in a way I didn't want to be. It's definitely going to leave you with more questions than answers. So you do kind of have this feeling of discontent when you finish it, and unease. Anyway, go into that one knowing that it's quite dark. Next one was actually still kind of dark and still quite techno-y. It's a sci-fi. It's a short little book. I was reading it on my girls' trip, so it was kind of like my little road trip book, and that is The Employees by Olga Raven. I think I'm saying her name right. So we have a crew of humans and non-humans, and they work on this spaceship called the 6000 ship, and they dock on this planet called, let me check my notes, New Discovery, like every 10 days. This is very much like, it seems to be like we're kind of in a post-Earth reality, like far distant future. And it's very much all about the dynamic between the humans and the humanoids and how they interact with each other. It's told in little vignettes. So you just have these statements from the employees. They are even slightly out of order. And the statements are from the employees to this sort of kind of HR crew who've come in to investigate what's going on, because there seems to be some sort of maybe humanoid uprising brewing. There are also these things simply referred to as the objects, and there is a whole room in the spaceship filled with these objects, and they seem to be sentient some way. They have some sort of sway over the people who visit the room. They kind of seem to slowly be making the humans go insane. We don't know why their statements are being taken. That was another thing that, again, this was a book that kind of leaves you with more questions than answers. It doesn't really say a lot by the time you get to the end of it, if I'm being honest. Like, it's one of those books I enjoyed the ride, but could I really tell you what the author's purpose was? No. The most interesting thing, and I think this is kind of what the author's purpose really is, I guess, is that you don't know which statements are from the humans and which are from the humanoids. For example, early on, statement number 10 just says, I don't know if I'm human anymore. Am I human? Does it say in your files what I am? Like, that's trippy to me. That's really crazy. The fact that you wouldn't even know. So if I did a second read, maybe even a third read of this, I could probably pull more out of it. This would be a really interesting one to do like a book study on or like write an essay over. But ultimately I was kind of left unsatisfied because like we hear about this guy, Dr. Lund, and it's very obvious that he is supposed to be the sort of father of this whole enterprise. So I was hoping to like get to meet him. Who is this guy? Is he human? You know, what's the purpose here? It raises some questions that we just never get answered. It's just kind of one of those books where you finish it and you're like, well, okay, that was a book. I don't know. Then while I was pet sitting, I wanted to take a short one just to kind of blitz through in the span of like 48 hours. And so I read Permafrost, which is technically the first in Eva Baltazar's little triptych. So she's got Permafrost, Boulder, and then Mammoth, which is what I'm gonna read next. This is very much just like not about the plot. I mean, some things happen for sure that keep us interested and invested, But basically our main character, who I don't think has a name, unless I missed it, I'm pretty sure she remains nameless. She ends up leaving Barcelona. She goes to Brussels for a little bit, then she goes to Scotland to work as an au pair. Basically, it's one of those books where we're just getting a lot of interiority about the main character's thoughts on love and life and her travels. And I will say, big trigger warning for this one. She's super, but not in a way that's, she almost does it with humor. Like it's dark humor, basically. She can kind of like have a very dark thought and then kind of poke fun at herself at the same time, and be very ironic. So I did enjoy that. The sentences in this, like these, you don't read these for the plot, you just read them for the writing. They're so good, they're so literary. I didn't quite put it in the great category. There is something about the way that she is able to turn a phrase that just, it stops me in my tracks sometimes. So these are actually translated works. So the fact that the translator did such a good job, I have to tip my hat to her as well. Very much like in Boulder, we have a main character with a strong dislike for kids. She does not like them. She doesn't want to be around them. She doesn't want to have them. I will say in Boulder, the main character doesn't really change her mind. In this one, we have a little bit of a softening towards the end. So we have maybe more of a character arc with the main character in this one. Like she says at one point, "My life is a cry for death." She's just like, she's kind of dramatic about it. And she's poetic about it. It almost reminded me a little bit of like the melodrama of Lydia Dietz in Beetlejuice. I do like that we get a couple of references to the title and what that could mean. My interpretation is that Permafrost is very much like her shell, or her outer, the shell that can kind of, you know, she uses to protect herself from the world. I love the way the female body in both of these, and probably in Mammoth too, is talked about. It's so unabashed. Like I said, dark and funny at times, and pretty kind of bold-faced. I love it so much, and I love that it doesn't have to be, you know, we can talk about things like sex, but in a way that isn't, we're not tiptoeing around anything. We're not being precious. We're just talking about it, and it's great. And then the final one in the good category that I wanted to mention before we get into some of the just okay ones, was Immaculate Conception, the new Ling Ling Huang. I loved Natural Beauty. That one is about like the beauty industry, and it's kind of like a commentary on the toxicity of it. And it has some kind of like spooky kind of Vandermeer vibes to it. I think I like Natural Beauty a little bit more than this one, but this one was still very interesting. It's very much a critique on, again, AI. I'm just reading a lot of AI books, or maybe more authors are just writing books where AI is involved because it's just become so enmeshed in our lives. But this is about a young woman named Enka, E-N-K-A. I think I'm saying it right. I could definitely be saying it wrong. And she's an art student, but she becomes obsessed with this other art student named Mathilde, who is incredibly talented. She has a lot of trauma. She's got kind of a dark background. Like her parents have passed away, and she's dealing with a lot. And Enka just takes an extreme liking to her, to the point that it does become obsession. And actually the dedication of the book, it says, "For the jealous," because Enka is incredibly jealous. And she kind of only becomes friends with Mathilde because she just wants to be near her. And this is kind of told in dual timelines, because we do find out fairly early on, I think it's in the opening chapter, Mathilde has gone missing. So that's kind of the point in the book which we are working towards, is to figure out what's going on. So Enka is given this opportunity to work with the CEO of this company called Scaffold, which is working using AI technology to basically do like brain surgery on people to help their minds connect. So you could literally be like telepathically connected to somebody. Enka and the CEO, his name is Logan. He's about her age, maybe a couple of years older. They have a romance. That part of it I wasn't feeling. There just wasn't anything between them. I didn't feel like there was any chemistry. It moves really fast, and I wasn't feeling it. So the romance definitely was lacking in this. Luckily, we do end up finding out some more information about Mathilde later. I won't say anything more, but we do have that promise fulfilled. So it did keep me reading, it did keep me invested. There's a couple of little twists for sure that I wasn't expecting. It's very much talking about how AI strips away our human rights and our privacy without us even realizing it. It's almost like already too late. We don't even have any safeguards in place. There's a lot in here about trauma and healing. There's obviously a lot in here about art, a lot about jealousy in friendships and comparison. I think one of the quotes that kind of sums up the way that Inka feels about Mathilde, it kind of sets the tone for the whole book. It's really early on. She says, maybe I was just so insecure that anyone with a strong sense of identity could destabilize me. And that sets the trajectory of the novel off. Like that is very much indicative exactly of how Inka feels about herself and about Mathilde. Very much the theme of like trauma and jealousy for sure. One of the other quotes that I feel like kind of typifies the whole story is, if jealousy was like a well, I'd never reach the bottom. Hadn't realized the well was a tunnel to the mother of envy, which is awe. And that comes in really late in the book. And we do see a good character arc with Inka, which I was pleased with. I was afraid that she wasn't gonna, because she does some things in here that are pretty questionable. You're not always gonna like her at times, but that's fine. And I do like it when a character can kind of, by the end, there's some sort of change or some sort of epiphany or realization that they've had. It's not particularly literary. It's not like the greatest thing that's ever been written by any means, but if any of those themes sound really interesting to you, then I would recommend it. And then finally, just one that was okay. Honestly, /bad. I don't know what category to put it in. I sometimes will have a book that floats somewhere between the okay and the bad, and that was The Glow. I originally DNF'd it in like, I think early August. Basically it took me the whole 2 months to read it. Like I was reading it, I was listening to it all throughout July and August. It just wasn't going anywhere. It was one of those ones where it's like, you're just reading pages and pages and pages and it's like, what are you even saying? Like nothing is even happening. What is going on? I finished it because I would like to possibly do a video in the future where I talk about like books that are commenting on like the beauty industry or the wellness industry, but with a very dark kind of culty undertone, because I love that. It's a very specific subgenre of book, but I really love it. It's about our main character, a woman named Jane. She's like a PR manager and she's in a lot of medical debt, and so she is desperate to get out of that. So she's like, I need to figure something out. I need to like create an influencer who's gonna bring me in a lot of money. Like she's just trying to create an influencer who's gonna become a cash cow for her. And so she finds this woman, I don't even remember her name. It's very much like 9 Perfect Strangers vibes. And she's got this little wellness retreat that she's running out of like her home. Our girl Jane wants to force her to go viral on Instagram and social media so that she can turn this thing into like a big deal and turn this woman into a brand. So again, we have a main character who you're not really gonna like. I didn't really like Jane. She has bad intentions from the beginning. You could argue that she's just in a desperate place. I mean, she obviously is. She's in like, I don't know, like $100,000 of medical debt or something. So she's desperate. She's a woman on the edge. But her whole intention is to like exploit this other woman. So it was just, she was annoying and we're inside her head the whole time. It's like she really doesn't understand that she's being exploitative, and so you just want to reach in and shake her. I really didn't feel like there was much of an arc at the end. I really didn't feel like she had much of an epiphany. There's literally one line near the end where she questions the morality of what she's doing. So I wasn't a big fan of it. I don't recommend it. The writing wasn't anything particularly special. And I think that is all. We have made it to the end. So I appreciate you for being here. Let me know what you read in July and August. Let me know what your favorite book was of summer, or if I should finish any of the DNFs, because sometimes it's just me. I will see you guys in my next video.